What's up, everybody? It's Aaron here, Franchise Tag Fantasy Football Podcast, here with my best friend Raymond. He's on the mic. Apparently, he has a lot of talking to do today, so we're switching up the intro today. I'm coming with you guys. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm. With that, let's just jump straight into it. What you got, Ray?
So let's start off with the news. Ryan Fitzmagic out in Washington. What did I say earlier? I was like, hey, Gibson's going to need to have that quarterback spot shirt up. And what did Washington do? They delivered.
1 year, $10 million, right?
Yes, I think it is. I gotta look at the numbers again. But
I believe it's 1 year, $10 million.
Fitzmagic bumps up so many people in that offense. You're talking about a bump up for Logan Thomas. You're putting clearly a bump up for Scary Terry, best quarterback he's had in his whole career. And then
you're not giving a long history there, but
it's not very long history, but it's been a short history of trash. And then we're gonna go ahead and bump up Antonio Gibson as well. Now I'm kind of mystified at the fact that they had J.D. McKissic had 80 receptions. I don't know where those receptions are gonna go going forward. I mean, you'd think that they would pull in maybe some more offensive line help. They got Curtis Samuel out there. Maybe those receptions go there. But those reception totals are going to have to go somewhere else. And that's why I think Ryan Fitzmagic is going to bring Antonio Gibbs' season to life.
Stop. You stole that pick from me, by the way. I was a little salty about it, but I agree. I don't know. I think Curtis Samuel might cut into Scary Terry just a little bit, Terry McLaurin. A little bit, not a lot, but as you said, this will be the first time that he's had I'll go out and say competent field stretching quarterback. Alex Smith is competent, but he's not known for stretching the field. But Ryan Fitzmagic, or Fitzpatrick as we know, is not afraid to heave the ball down the field and see what happens and lets his receivers go make plays.
And I just want to maybe cap this off with the fact that Ryan Fitzmagic has had so many receiver ones, and he's even been able to handle 2 receiver ones in his own offense when he was on the Jets with Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker. So if he could bring some guy like Devontae Parker to life after how many years of mediocrity, Scary Terry is going to be in for a big boost.
I mean, it's a mixture of Fitzpatrick and losing Adam Gase for the offense, so...
Yeah.
So honestly, that's how I feel. But yeah, I agree with you. So Will Fuller, speaking of the Dolphins, lands in Miami. What do you think about that?
I kind of don't care. You didn't see what Will Fuller is good at is obviously stretching the field. He does a little work in the middle of the field, but he's more of a down the field threat. You didn't see Tua push the ball down the field very much in the limited time that we did see him play.
I'm beginning to wonder if it's in college. Obviously, the balls are different. The ball size, football size is different than in the NFL. I'm beginning to wonder if maybe, because I mean, in Alabama, they threw the ball, but they didn't throw the ball. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm beginning to wonder if maybe his arm strength isn't all there, or maybe he can't grip the ball right, or if it's his hip still. Because, like you said, Tua just, from what we saw last year, maybe it's just going to take him another half season or so to, get accustomed to the NFL speed. But he's afraid to push it, or he can't push it. One of the two.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. But it is a good match with a Devontae Parker on the other side. Excuse me. You have Preston Williams still there, and then you have Will Fuller. I'm not too sure what they're doing with the running back as of this moment.
I've got something for that later.
But I think it's a decent signing. I mean, I would have rather Will Fuller went somewhere else. But, I mean, I guess he's a 1B in that offense. Would you call him a 1B?
I think it turns into a Carolina situation with Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore, where they're both going to be super viable options, but you're not going to know which one to play week in, week out between Will Fuller and Devontae Parker.
So how much are you in on Will Fuller?
You'll be able to get him late in drafts because of that 1 game suspension.
I honestly thought it was more than that, and when they said it was 1 game, I thought it was 4.
No, it's just 1. So you'll probably be able to get him late in the later half of drafts. If I can get him at decent value, I might pick him up, put him on my bench after week 1, wait and see what happens. It's one of those things that I'm kind of. Miami's looking up, but the only reason they even made the playoffs last year, I would argue, was because of Ryan Fitzpatrick. Even though he only went 4-3, he came in to save them on some games that they were about to lose.
Yeah, and they could have made a playoff push if they would have kept him in. Tua going in, I don't want to say ruined that whole offense, but I kind of want to say it ruined the whole offense. Like, let's just call it what it really is. Tua looked bad, and he didn't seem like he had the arm strength or the accuracy that I think he was touted to have coming into the draft. Yeah. I don't think he was a big arm guy coming out of college. I don't think that's what it was.
I think it was more head on his shoulders coming out of college.
But even that didn't look great.
Nope.
Obviously, he's a rookie still too, so you have a lot of different things working for you. Maybe something happens this season, but Will Fuller would have to fall pretty late in the draft for me to grab him. He might have to go undrafted. Honestly, I'm out on Devontae Parker, pretty much.
Yeah, for the most part. One of these days, man, in one of these shows, we're going to come across players that we just completely disagree on, and I'm waiting for that day so we can actually hash it out. But for now,
I think it's today.
For now, I agree with you on that one. So Juju, he is staying in Pittsburgh. Just going over some of our notes here. Jared Cook signs with LA, former Packer legend, obviously. Played with the Saints last year. I say that with sarcasm. But anyways, do you think he has anything left? They let Everett walk.
Yeah, so I think that there could be something there. But I don't know. I didn't see Stafford target the he went to the Chargers. I'm sorry. I was thinking different LA. He went to the Chargers. Completely slipped my mind. That's how much I
You forget that there's 2 LA teams, huh?
Yeah, I forgot.
Taking a couple years, but we'll get there.
Right. So if he's taking Hunter Henry's spot, then yeah, there could be some volume there. Maybe a super late round tight end. And Jared Cook's always been a guy that you could stream. He's always been on the waiver wire.
But
maybe somebody picked him up and pushed him in.
We recommend taking those premium tight ends so you don't have to stream them.
Well, there's only 3 of them, and most leagues have 10 people, so...
there's 5, borderline say 4.
Okay, I'll give you 4, sure. I'm not putting Jared Cook in that category.
Oh, no.
So, maybe he's on the upper echelon, maybe like near Noah Fant. I would draft Jared Cook around where Noah Fant would go. He would be interchangeable with that name.
I would take Jared Cook over Noah Fant just for the quarterback situation. Unless the Broncos can figure something out. That's just me, though.
How about T.J. Hawkinson? Would you take him over T.J. Hawkinson?
Not with Jared Goff.
Oh, well, that's where my line is drawn, right there. So we're right on par today.
Yep. Go ahead.
Kenyon Drake questionably signing the most questionable contract.
So, I want to talk
most questionable running back room.
I want to talk about this because we did a mock draft last week.
Mm-hmm.
My mock draft had me take Josh Jacobs over Aaron Jones at the 111 and Aaron Jones went at the 112. This was before the Kenyon Drake deal. Josh Jacobs plummets for me to about the 3rd round because I feel like John Gruden, the fabulous and wonderful, freaking $10 million a year man, is going to just completely screw the pooch on this one, and it's going to be such muddy waters. It's not going to be worth it.
That's kind of how I'm feeling too. Kenyon Drake going there just makes things so much more confusing in a backfield that John Gruden was already not wanting to give the work to Josh Jacobs for whatever reason. And maybe he was injured. Maybe there's more injury than what he was actually being broadcast to have. But it just makes things so much more confusing in an offense that I'm just not interested in. Maybe if Will Fuller went there, I'd be interested in Will Fuller. You could buy me in at like the 7th or 8th.
Who's their quarterback? Is it Derek Carr or Marcus Mariota? That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I don't even know who their quarterback is.
Mariota's gone. They cut him.
Did they?
Yep.
I don't pay attention to the Raiders because, like you said, they're a team who had one viable option on the offense, and it was Josh Jacobs. Now it's not even, you know what I mean? I mean, it might be worth it, but it's going to be a timeshare. It's going to be a committee. It's going to turn into one of those Miami receiver type situations where you don't know who to start this week or that week.
Yeah, and I don't want to get myself into something like that. Now, Derek Carr has shown that he can support a receiver one. He's shown that he can, but that was a while ago, and I'm not the biggest Amari Cooper fan, but he's a talented guy. So that's the kind of caliber you're going to have to get Derek Carr to return something to you, or get that offense to return something to you.
Mm-hmm.
That is such a questionable signing. All questionable signing of the season so far. Why they decided to do that.
I wish we had a drop for that. I'm gonna make one.
Right? Just like a. That's what I feel. And then Jamal Williams, our guy, we could say farewell to him. R.I.P. as well. He went to Detroit. Not a great place for him to go either. Why he couldn't have just went to Atlanta and been the starting running back? Why does the NFL want to hate me and my love for Jamal Williams so much?
This year's weird though, man. Like with the whole COVID cap going down, he might have got, if it was a different year, different time, you know, he might have gotten a better offer from somewhere else. But unfortunately, it's, if you want to play in the NFL this year, certain people in certain positions have to take what's given to them. I mean, the Bears literally just cut Kyle Fuller, who's a great cornerback, and he's a cap casualty. And that's what it is. I mean,
if the Packers could make a move. In the last bit of our news, and this is going to kind of lead into some spicy takes again. Kenny Golladay signs with the Giants for what feels like $1 billion. Too much. What is it? A 4-year, $75 million with $40 million guaranteed.
72.
Yeah. So this is my take on Kenny Golladay, and I don't know if I'm the only person that seems to think this. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills every time that like everyone starts talking about Kenny Golladay. I don't think that Kenny Golladay is a number one receiver on 90% of the rosters out there. 90%. I don't.
Oh, I'm calling you on this one.
Give me five.
There's 32 teams in the NFL. You don't think that you don't think that he's not a number one for at least 28 of them?
The guy. He's the number one.
Guy?
The 1A.
Oh, like, man. Are we going to start on the West Coast or the East Coast? Where do you want to start at?
So I'll
start in the middle.
Give you some examples. He could have went to the Raiders. Could have been the clear-cut number one dude.
Raymond, we literally just talked about cap space and money that people have.
I understand that.
There's other more needed positions across teams rather than just skill positions at wide receiver and running back. I would pay out offensive linemen before I paid out any of those type of people this current season.
But what I'm saying is that even if, say, you take the cap out and you could put him on whatever team you wanted to.
Okay.
How many teams would he be the true number one?
The Jets, the Giants, the Patriots. Hold on, I'm trying to go down. Baltimore. Keep going. Give me teams on the East Coast. Sorry. Carolina. Yep, Carolina. I'd say he's better than both of those guys. Miami.
Maybe. I think Carolina's where the border starts.
I don't think so. Miami. Who else
is
is down there?
Devontae Parker and Will Fuller?
Yes.
Okay.
Not the Bucks. Definitely in Jacksonville. Coming across.
Is he better than DJ Chark?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Is he better than
DJ Chark would be the two. DJ Chark is not a wide receiver one in the NFL, a true one in the NFL.
Is he better than Marvin Jones?
Yes. They were just on the same team.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Is he better?
Yeah.
I don't think he is.
From a fantasy perspective? Or just from raw talent? Oh.
Not a raw talent. Because what I'm saying is that
Marvin Jones couldn't be the number one against Golden Tate.
He might
get out of my face.
He might
take a lap. Take a lap.
He might be an uber talented guy. The dude can't stay on the field.
I 100% agree. He can't. But also, it comes into the point where when you're playing in a franchise like Detroit, who hasn't been good for ever.
Never.
They literally forced Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson to retire because they didn't want to play there anymore. Yeah, sorry guys, we feel your pain. Well, not really, but we empathize with you. Matt Stafford couldn't stay healthy there either, though. But yet you're high on Matt Stafford and you're down on Kenny G.
I'm all out on Kenny G. Pretty much wherever he would have went.
I'm out on him. Don't get me wrong. I'm out on the Giants because I don't believe in Daniel Jones at all.
Danny Dimes is not it for me either.
Yeah, so I don't like this signing at all. But anyways, to prove your point further of him not being a true one on the NFL teams, it'd be easier to kind of list starting from top going down to where the line's kind of drawn. But a lot of cases, and in a lot of cases, you've got, ones here, but like for Tampa Bay, for example, you've got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin on the same team who are both going to be viable fantasy options as long as Tom Brady's there. So it all kind of go ahead.
I think that if I had to draw a line in the sand somewhere and I had to choose where I think Kenny Golladay actually sits, in terms of just like ability and what I've seen, because he can't stay healthy. Maybe right where that DJ Chark line is. That's for me. I don't buy it. I think he's the number one on his team, but he's the 1A, and Sterling Shepard is the 1B.
Sterling Shepard can't stay healthy either, though. That's the problem that the Giants just ran into. No,
they just have a bunch of guys that can't stay healthy out there.
I mean, it was the same way with OBJ when he was there. OBJ couldn't stay healthy in New York either. He still can't stay healthy.
No.
You know what I mean? And the line for me for Kenny Golladay, perfect case scenario of him actually staying healthy and getting to play a full season with a competent quarterback, is an Allen Robinson, AJ Brown. That's kind of where the line is. He's a borderline fringe, actual fantasy football wide receiver 1, but more than likely top 18.
And I think that AJ Brown is the love of my life, and
I know. Trust me,
this man can do no wrong. But yeah, that's my take on Kenny Golladay. I don't particularly care for his ability to not stay on the field. That's just really what I've seen so far. And I think Matt Stafford is a really good quarterback, and like, you can't say that they didn't have competent quarterback play because Matt Stafford is good. He's dare I say top 10? Dare I say?
I wouldn't go that far yet.
Okay.
Yet, but honestly, I think if you put Kenny G on the Rams right now with Matt Stafford, that therefore bumps him to the 1, Robert Woods to the 2, and Cooper Kupp running the slot. Honestly.
Okay. Would you say that he is the number 1 in Minnesota with Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen?
Yeah, I think Thielen would get bumped off the field at that point in time. Thielen's good. I like Thielen. I have his jersey right back here there, because I like him that much, and you know what I mean.
Do I have a Thielen jersey up? I do. But yeah, that's really it for the news and spicy takes. Honestly,
that's it. That's all you got.
That's all I got really for today. And
our first disagreement was a spicy take.
Yeah, and I'm all out on Kenny Golladay.
Welcome to the world, my friends.
Fall off the planet with it.
I'm gonna captain it. Don't worry. And I'm gonna steer it right into a top 18 season. Not really with the Giants. He's not wide receiver, low end wide receiver 2.
So the main point of today's show, specifically outside of news, because I think with all the signings and whatnot, mediocre signings at that, a lot of guys are staying. A lot of guys are staying in town. Specifically, like guys like Juju. I think that in a normal year, he would have gotten paid a little more than what he did. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. That's another. That's
Obviously,
another thing to me. I don't think Juju's I don't think personally Juju is a true wide receiver one in the NFL, and I don't think he deserves wide receiver one money.
I don't either. But I do think that he is a very competent 1B.
Yeah, don't
A very
hear what I'm
competent
not
1B.
saying. He's a good receiver. He just is not talented enough to be the 1A, the alpha, the one taking the double teams and getting people off the top. It's not his play style. He's more of a slot / number 2 receiver.
Had he went to like a team like Tennessee, I think that would have been just the perfect place for him to go.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to contend with heavy pass coverages. He doesn't have to worry about double teams because that grown-ass man, A.J. Brown's going to be taking those. So I think that would have been a perfect spot for him to go.
You also can't play a bunch of zone defense and just let Derrick Henry run wild at Tennessee either.
You can't.
So. But hey, we're going to get into something here that it might look good for Juju with a little bit of help from someone that the Steelers might draft.
So, like I was saying earlier, the main point of this show would be to highlight a couple guys that we're pretty high on coming into the NFL draft and some potential rookies coming in, and maybe give some lists of teams that might be able to use their help. I'll start it off.
Hold on. I just want to say my segues are on point. Continue.
One of the guys that I'm the highest on is Jalen Waddle. Or Waddell. I don't know how you say it because I've heard it 3 times now differently.
Who this guy is?
He's a receiver out of Alabama. He's a 5'10", 185, shorter frame guy, but the guy's got burners just flying down the field. Now, he did break his ankle last season, so that's something that might have knocked him down the board a little bit, but I don't think that anybody was going to take Ja'Marr Chase's spot as the number 1 guy.
No, and Ja'Marr Chase is coming out of LSU. For those of you that don't follow college football that much,
he's another grown.
You're frozen.
A grown human being. Am I frozen?
You are. Quick reset.
Yeah.
We need a technical difficulty screens, everybody. Oh, there's Ray down low now. What? And we're here. Hello. Glad to see you're back.
Got it. Yeah, sorry about that. Sometimes my camera just says I want to be a Kenny Galladay today and just not function. So Jalen Waddle, he's a guy that not only can he take the top off of a lot of defenses, but he's another guy that runs in the middle of the field as well. So he could be a potential good slot receiver. I think that he played a lot more on the X. He was a guy that was pushing the ball down the field as many times as they could get it down the field. But one thing that really stood out to me is you see a lot of the speed guys, a lot of the burner guys, they're body catchers. That's not something that excites me. But Jalen Waddle's not that guy. He's a hands guy. And you see him making contested catches at a 5'10" frame. I don't want to make the comp, but, I mean, Tyreek Hill does those kinds of things too. And if he can emulate some of that gameplay, I am all in. Some teams that I think that could maybe use him. Look, I'm going to keep saying it till the day I die. Can this man go to the Packers, please? Can he please? Can we please? Can we have that? Or is he just not big, tall, and slow enough?
Stop being a homer.
Is he? I have to be.
Want in one hand and poop in the other, and tell me which one fills up first.
Look, I got a lot of wants. I think that if you put him on a team like the Jets, he would instantly help that team out.
But Ray, they have Corey Davis now.
Yeah, but Corey Davis, I don't think is.
He's not a number one, bro.
He's not at all. No, he was drafted to be.
He definitely was drafted to be, but sometimes, you're not always right in the draft. These scouts get paid a lot of money, and they can be wrong.
Another team, again, we were talking about Tennessee, they have a little need for getting a guy kind of like his skill set that you put something like that and pair it on an offense with Derrick Henry, a guy that can run a sub 4.4, 4.3 40, with a guy like Derrick Henry running the ball down your throat, and then you still have to contend with A.J. Brown. I mean, that's a tall task. I think that's the place he should go, is Tennessee.
But yeah, I mean, what about is it Devontae Smith, the other wide receiver out of Alabama that everyone's all hyped up? He's their number one.
So what I saw on Devontae Smith, and I was looking into different receivers, was he's a lot more unpolished than Jalen Waddle. But Jalen Waddle is going to have to command a lot higher of a draft price. I think he's going to probably go late first round.
You think you think it has to do with a lot of people forgot about him, as far as average people, not NFL scouts, forgot about Jalen Waddle because of the ankle issue?
Yeah, because he only played in 4 games, so you got a very small sample size. But if he can return to form, and you never know how a guy's going to come back from a significant injury like that. If he can return to form, I truly think that either Tennessee or, I mean, put him on the Chargers. Put him on the Chargers.
Think he takes Mike Williams' spot as the number 2?
I think Mike Williams is a very good goal line receiver. And then
what they should do, he just doesn't get hurt. Hear me out. What they should do: draft a receiver like that, have him be the number 2, convert Mike Williams' ginormous self into their tight end, and just tell Jared Cook just to teach him how to play tight end.
Yeah, and Mike Williams is big enough to do it.
That's what I'm saying.
I want to say Mike Williams is like 6'5", 6'6". He's a big guy.
Oh,
not a super burner, but no. I don't think anybody's going to out-jump him either.
I don't think any linebacker is going to outrun him either in a man-to-man coverage. No. So, it's just me.
What do you got next here, Aaron?
I'm going to go with not my favorite of the 2 picks, obviously. So, obviously, Najee Harris and Travis Etienne are going to be the 1 and 2 running backs off the board. Everyone talks about them. That's all it's going to be. But I'll continue with the running back choices here. So my first one's going to be Trey Sermon. He's 6'1", 218, ran a 4.42 40, which is pretty big, or pretty quick. He played 4 years at the University of Oklahoma, and then he graduate transferred to Ohio State. This dude is an absolute monster between the tackles. He's been knocked for not having perimeter run capabilities, but in between the tackles, he's north and south. He's big, he's strong, he's elusive, he breaks tackles, he drags defenders with him for extra yards. He's got good balance, tough to stop. These are just some of my notes. Good receiver out of the backfield, not a great receiver, but he can catch the football out of the backfield. He would primarily be used, unfortunately, in first and second down roles. He would go to a committee backfield where he would get complemented with a pass-catching back. Someone like a J.D. McKissick, Antonio Gibson, for example, where that's all they do is catch passes. Obviously, being from Oklahoma and an Oklahoma fan, this man in college was great. Oklahoma does have a history, like Georgia, of putting out good running backs. Adrian Peterson, DeMarco Murray, Joe Mixon, to name a few. So he's in those kind of categories. He rode the pine behind Joe Mixon for a couple years. They had Samaje Perine too, but he's not good in the NFL. Not to knock on anybody, but he was a 1-2 with Joe Mixon. But anyways, so he's definitely someone to keep an eye on, especially in rookie or dynasty drafts. As far as redrafts and for us, per se, keepers, you'd want to be looking at him at probably rounds 13 on as a late round snag, because he's projected to go in the 3rd round of an NFL draft. And as you know, running backs within the first 3 to 4 rounds of an NFL draft, they normally have that's called the draft capital to get work their rookie season and then potentially see what they have in them and give them an opportunity. So just be paying attention for his name. See where he lands.
I didn't actually even say where Jalen Waddle would go in a redraft. I would think that receivers don't have the same trends as rookie running backs, in that you never know what kind of guy is going to be coming out of college and is going to be productive, even on a good team. It's just such a crapshoot with the receiver position. It's a difficult position to learn, similar to what the tight end position is. Like, you're going to see Kyle Pitts probably fly off the board super high in your guys' redraft. And I don't know if I would want to take that risk on a tight end that high.
Not a rookie tight end.
No, our mock draft, he went in the 5th. So that's pretty high when there's a lot of guys that you can get in the 5th round instead of Kyle Pitts. So maybe let him fall. If he does, take a shot on him in like the 9th. That would be good. That'd be good value. Could potentially have a keeper if you're in a keeper league. But Jalen Waddle goes somewhere around the 5th, 6th round. And I think that might be still a little too high depending on where he goes. But he is the big play kind of guy that he takes one catch and takes it right to the house. And he might have won you that week because of that. So definitely a guy that you need to be looking for in the 5th and 6th. Is that all you had on Trey Sermons?
Yep.
My next guy is another similar body type to Jalen Waddle. That's Elijah Moore. He's the most polished receiver coming out of this class. Even I've seen comps to say that he's more polished than Ja'Marr Chase. The only thing is that he's not a full-grown man like Ja'Marr Chase is. He's 5'9". Nothing against 5'9" guys. Nothing against it. I think 5'9" is the new 6'5". That's
average height. We're average height.
I think it's above average, but he's 5'9", 185. He's a real quick twitch guy, not a super fast guy. I think he's projected to run at about a 4.445, most likely in the 4.5s, and I know that might put some people off, and he might fall in drafts because of that. But for teams that are looking for slot receivers, specifically, maybe if Tampa Bay wanted to go up and get a guy, or even Kansas City, I think they could use a skill set similar to this and pair him with a Tyreek Hill on the outside, and you've got Travis Kelce on the inside.
Yeah, don't forget Mecole, bro. They've got two barn burners on the outside.
Exactly. So they could have this quick twitch guy in the middle of the field. Now, one thing that I would say again about Elijah Moore, and it's a lot more prevalent in all of his tape, is that he catches everything with his hands. He's a hands catcher, and that's a trait that it's hard to teach that at this stage in people's careers. You'll see it in the NFL where people are just straight up body catchers. Look at Tyler Lockett. He's successful at doing it, but he catches with his body 50% of the time. It's right here. And then the other quarter that you would get to 75%, it's maybe right here. And then the other 25% he's catching outside of his frame. Not to say that he doesn't have good hands, but it limits his range of possible catches that he could get. So I would like Elijah Moore to go to one of these Super Bowl contending teams with Kansas City or Tampa Bay. I think that would be a good pair. You've seen Tom Brady just dominate with a good slot receiver, and I think that he's one of the best coming out of this draft. The one comp that I would say, not comp, sorry. The one thing I would say about this draft class specifically in terms of receiver is that you're going to have a lot of smaller build guys, a lot of them. Now, there are some big guys like Ja'Marr Chase, but there's a lot of smaller guys. And you've seen that a lot more lately where it's not necessarily the 6'5" guy that's coming out and is going to be dominating, is where you're seeing like a 6'1", 6'2" guy come out that can be productive in the NFL. So I don't think that the size is necessarily indicative of people that aren't able to be productive in the NFL. I just wanted to maybe have that caveat before people in the comments are like, "Oh man, these guys are super small. What are you talking about? He can't play in the NFL." It's not necessarily true.
To be fair, though, the nowadays NFL, you're seeing a lot less of the old school prototypical type people actually making it and being successful because they've broken that mold. And let's be honest, the NFL today and professional athletes today in general are a lot more athletic and just straight up naturally talented raw athleticism than they used to be. It's got to do with all the different workouts and programs and exercises and stuff that we have now as society progresses forward to help them become better athletes. So you don't need that big frame and stature necessarily in order to have a 36-inch vertical. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I mean, it does help to be 6'6". Let me tell you.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, if you barely got to jump to dunk a basketball, you're obviously going to be a lot better at basketball than someone like me, who would take a miracle for me to actually be able to get the ball over the rim. So, but yeah.
What do you got next year?
Yeah. So, like Ray was saying, this year's draft in particular for the NFL, wide receivers are going to be deep. This is a deep wide receiver draft class. Running backs, not so much. It's going to be a little thin in the running backs this year. So sticking with, obviously, the running back choices, Travis Etienne, we talked about earlier. He's projected to go first round, pick 23 to the Jets, from what I've been seeing consistently. And then Najee Harris is projected, because they didn't get Aaron Jones, to go, I think, pick 18 to the Dolphins in the first round. So that might help the Dolphins out a little bit. But next pick, someone who is supposed to be just as good, if not better. He's projected to be the third running back off the board. It is Javonte Williams out of North Carolina. He had a timeshare for most of the season, but they both really produced, him and Michael Carter. But he is the better of the two backs. He is 5'10", so he's a little short, but he is 220 pounds. Comp here for me that comes right to mind immediately, AJ Dillon-esque. Saquon-esque, right? Big lower body, big back. He's only projected to run, he hasn't done his pro day yet, but he's projected to run a 4.540. Not the fastest. Last year, though, he did have, in a timeshare, 166 attempts for 1,100 yards and 19 touchdowns. Here's where it gets real interesting and real good, Ray. He forced 85 missed tackles. That is a lot of missed tackles.
That is.
This man is this man is explosive. He's elusive. He has great balance. He's a good runner. He's got great balance, good speed. Obviously, his 40 time. He's not gonna, when he gets to the second level, he's not just gonna burn his way out, but he can beat people with his speed. He hits holes and finds the second level, so he's quick to read the offensive line. He hits the hole, gets immediately to the second level. Makes people tackle him. He's a good pass catcher. I'm trying to read my notes here. He's going to be a viable 3-down back. He's going to be a really good 3-down back if people give him the chance to be the workhorse. He was in a timeshare in college, like I said, but he obviously was the better back. He got most of the work. People will knock him for disappearing against Notre Dame. He had like 28 carries for 11 yards or something like that, but that team also made the college football playoffs in Notre Dame. I hope I just didn't misspeak, but I believe that's right. And then the only knocks that I found on him is that he'll need to work on his pass pro coming in the NFL, which a lot of college running backs have to work on, is pass protection. He's projected as a late first, early second. You see him kind of going everywhere, but the most consistent places that I found him go is late in the first to the Steelers, to be their new 3-down back. To replace James Conner and Benny Snell, which he'll probably work in with Benny Snell to begin with. But if he can turn into a little mini Le'Veon Bell from later on in the Steelers before he decided to hold out, he should be a good pick.
What is James Conner's contract looking like? Do you know?
They haven't agreed to anything.
Is he a free agent?
Uh-huh.
Where would he go? Where would you want him to go?
Who, James Conner?
Want him to go anywhere?
No, yeah. I don't want James. He's the same dude. Can't stay healthy. Like we talked about with Kenny Golladay. He had one good season when Le'Veon held out, but he couldn't stay healthy that season. He couldn't stay healthy last season. Like, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to take a whole lot for somebody to take a job over Benny Snell.
No, not at all.
I think people in our league will say that I'm probably the highest person that's ever been on Benny Snell's whole career, and even me, I'm out. He's not good. He's not good at football.
My whole point with this Javonte Williams take is that he's not getting the love from most people that the Travis Etienne and Najee Harris are getting. So everyone in fantasy leagues are going to draft those two guys high, right? They obviously both made it to the finals. You got to, or no, they didn't. Excuse me, misspoke again. They made it to the college football playoffs. You got to see extra games out of them. Najee Harris obviously made it to the finals, so you got to see the most out of him. That's why most places have him going before Travis Etienne. But this guy's going to be a sneaky snart, um, sneaky little come in there where he can come in and you can get him at a value in fantasy drafts. Dynasty leagues, I'm seeing they're talking about he's not going till the second round in dynasty leagues, which is crazy for someone who might come in and get a starting job as a running back. So I definitely would keep my eye out for him to be. He might sit on. Listen, he might sit on your bench for a couple weeks till they figure out what the heck's going on. But he'll be like a J.K. Dobbins of last year, where after the bye week, second half of the season, this man's going to be on the field and showing people why he is a top 3 rookie running back in the NFL.
Now, I just want to just throw this out there. I didn't know that CBS was so low on Najee Harris. They have him going maybe mid-second round.
Really?
I don't think he goes that far. Yeah.
No, I don't think CBS is even remotely close to being right.
No, because they have Travis Etienne in the late first round. 29 to 30 is where they got him. But then you look at that's what I'm doing right now. I'm looking at some stats just to make sure that we're speaking correctly. And I'm seeing Najee Harris in a mid-second round. I'm like, there's no way.
There's no way. There's too many teams that have needs at running back sooner rather than the second. Which, granted, running backs don't go that in the first round that often, unless they're the Saquons, the Chubbs, the big name guys. But you always have at least a couple. So I do expect those two, Najee Harris and Travis Etienne, to go the first round. I think he sneaks into the back half. But for them to have Najee Harris not going to the second round and Travis Etienne going at 29 or 30, who's 29 and 30? The Packers and the Bills? Right?
Yeah.
Packers and the Bills. I could see maybe one of the two of them going. Actually, I don't. I see Miami and the Jets both taking one of those two guys.
Yeah,
unless they completely do something different. But Miami needs a running back, and the Jets definitely need a running back.
I mean, Frank Gore can only be.
That's not even
Frank Gore can only play for so many years.
It's not even Frank Gore. I forget who it is. Basically a nobody, someone they drafted late.
I know who. I can picture the face, but I can't remember his name.
Yeah, for the Jets, but honestly, I think that the Bills might end up with Javonte Williams. I picture him going if the Steelers don't take him. I think the Bills will. I know I was talking about Travis Etienne a couple weeks ago going to the Bills, but he's going to go too early.
And I really do think that the Bills need to address that running back room, because what you've seen in the last 2 seasons from Singletary and then this last season from Moss, I don't think that you were impressed with anything you saw. I
don't either. I think the Bills throw as much as they do because they don't have good running backs. They don't have NFL caliber running backs. Devin Singletary, one, is entirely too small to do anything.
I think that when they drafted him, they wanted him to be more of like the CJ Spiller replacement, I guess you could say, if it's even a replacement. They wanted that guy, and they've tried to get him a couple times, even with CJ Spiller. They wanted CJ Spiller to be more. They wanted Singletary to be more, and none of those guys seem to have panned out. I think they need to really address that running back room, and I think that one of these top.
Go ahead.
What's that? One of these top 3 running backs would go to Buffalo, and I would think that'd be a good fit.
I would think so too, because Buffalo has a good team, a good defense, good offense. They just literally need 1 or 2 pieces to make it work, and one of those pieces happens to be a running back. So I could potentially see Buffalo maybe even trading up in the draft to get somebody, because they know that, hey, we can make it to the AFC Championship game, but we get beat because we're one-dimensional.
Yeah, you start taking away the pass.
You start taking away the pass, they start hurting.
Yeah, because the teams, a balanced team is always going to be a better all-around team, clearly, than just a one-dimensional fast team. You saw it with Kansas City in the Super Bowl. They weren't really able to effectively run the ball. They weren't able to pass block at all.
To be fair, they were effectively able to run the ball. They chose not to.
No, yeah, I mean that's really what it comes down to. And then they weren't able to catch the ball at all. So
And they weren't able to stop 43-year-old Tom Brady from putting it wherever he wanted to on the field.
it's wild to me.
It's ridiculous. It is
Green bean Tom Brady.
It is what it is, man, at this point in time, where he's just you can't argue with it anymore now that he left Belichick. He's the GOAT. As much as it hurts to say, and as much as I dislike the man because I'm ready for him to retire and move on and let someone else take the throne, it is what it is. He's great. He's good. He's awesome. He's the most winningest quarterback of all time.
I hate to say it, but I think you're right. But if I had to ask you, we can close it out with this.
Okay.
Who are the top 5 most talented quarterbacks in your opinion to
talented as in just athleticism, arm talent, just overall talent?
You can take it whatever way you want.
To ever play or to play right now?
To ever play.
Oh Jesus.
We can form it. We can do it. Who's
Michael
playing
Vick.
right now? Who's the top 5?
Oh, top 5 right now?
Let's do it right now.
Who's
playing right now? Who's the top 5?
Patrick Mahomes is uber talented. The dude is literally laying flat out, just completely sprawled out and hit dude in the face mask. Was it Damian Williams he hit in the face mask?
I think it was.
Just was like...
That could have been the greatest catch. That could have been the greatest throw to ever happen in football history.
I just don't get it. Anyways, he's stupid talented.
Yeah.
Danger Russ Wilson. He is talented. He's been talented. He's consistently done it. Does he disappear for fantasy purposes? Yes,
yep.
but that's because Pete Carroll, I want to run the football. Smacking his dang gum. But Russ, obviously Aaron Rodgers, he's got spectacular arm talent. He's lost a step over the years, but he can still scramble and get free. His arm talent, his different angles that he can throw and levels he can throw on is great. That's not just being a homer. That's legit. In the league right now, those 3, I'm trying to rack my brain across everybody else.
Can't say Drew Brees, he's gone.
I know. He was always a default, but now he's gone. We're talking pure athleticism.
You can just say who the best 5 are. You can do that if it's that difficult.
If we're talking about talent, though, you could argue for Tom Brady to be in that, but he's not athletic.
I mean, he's doing something, right?
He's doing something right, but he's just... When you see Tom Brady, you think big, goofy, like blow up in front of the car lot, just like the wind thing. That's what I think of when I see Tom Brady. Because when he tries to run or scramble or anything, he doesn't really, because he just falls over when someone gets close to him. He's not mobile in the pocket.
He might be the slowest guy in the NFL. He might be.
It's possible.
He might be.
I think there might be some right guards that would outpace him.
Oh, hell yeah, for sure.
But I don't know, man. The other 3, Josh Allen, I think is pretty damn talented. To be honest with you, I think he's really talented.
Yeah. One more.
Who do you got that I haven't said?
Well, I'll tell you that Pat Mahomes is going to be on my number 1 spot. That's for sure. He has to be. No one else can do the things that he can do, and I don't think no one has ever been able to do the things that he can do. I'm not like just making that up. I think that's real life. That one throw that he had, he's literally completely horizontal with the ground, 30 yards down the field, and hits this dude right in his nostrils. And he drops the ball. I cannot believe. Every time I watch it, I can't believe what I'm looking at. Aaron Rodgers, number 2 for me. Not a whole lot of people in the NFL can make the throws that he can make, and coupled with the fact that he's got the brain to just pick apart your defense at all times, got to be number 2. Deshaun Watson is going to be number 3 for me, and it's because he's been playing with mediocrity his whole time that he's been in Houston. I mean, he hasn't had a great offensive line ever.
He's had none.
He really has.
And Will Fuller.
That's true. I'm not saying that his receiving core has been bad. Maybe I should reword that. But he's been playing with a subpar offensive line and not really a run game to speak of.
And he's been playing with F-class coaching.
Yes, with the worst, second worst.
Gase is the worst.
Adam Gase is the worst for sure. But like Matt Nagy might be second, maybe the third. He's the third worst. Matt Nagy's the second worst.
Overall worst general manager though ever in the history of the NFL.
Yes.
Bill O'Brien is taking that trophy.
Can he just send us some picks? Like, can he just do? Give everybody picks for nothing. Let's just do that.
I don't know.
Josh Allen's going to be number 4. The mix of size, strength, arm talent for sure. Ability and mobility in the pocket got to be number 4. And another little tiny spice. Justin Herbert might be in that list.
Too soon.
Too soon, huh? Too soon.
Can't base it off one season. Because look at it this way: one great season. It's Russ. One great season, but Baker broke the rookie touchdown record too, and then Justin Herbert put him under the bed. And Baker's a mediocre franchise guy.
Yeah, it just to let you know that he's somewhere in that arena.
Ray calling the shots, huh?
He might not be in the top 5 yet, but he's somewhere. He's got tickets to go in. Like he got them in the mail.
He got the tickets, but they might expire, huh?
Yeah, they might expire. I don't know. They might expire. But Russ for sure going to be number 5. And then honorable mentions, I think Justin Herbert can have a chance. I think that Joe Burrow has, if he can come back from that knee injury, definitely got a chance. We saw some really good things out of 2 good quarterbacks. That's not very common for rookie quarterbacks to come in and look as good as those 2 did. You can talk about other quarterbacks that came out in the same year. One's a backup and one is bagging groceries. So that's Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston. They came out at the same time. They were drafted a lot higher, maybe not from Joe Burrow, but from Justin Herbert, and they didn't pan out. So
was Herbert the 4th or 5th overall pick?
I thought he was I keep thinking he was 10th, but I gotta look it up.
I'm looking it up right now. Keep talking.
Okay. So with those guys, I'd also like to kind of say that Ryan Tannehill has to be somewhere in that arena as well. He's been playing lights out since he got out of that mess in Miami. I still think Matt Stafford's allowed to be in that conversation, maybe the top 10. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that Matt Ryan is super good, so I can't put him in there. I just can't. Like he's had some of the best receiving cores to ever walk the planet, and he's done nothing with it.
Who?
He's Matt Ryan.
Oh, I mean they made it to the Super Bowl, but
they made it to the Super Bowl. But that's it. Like that, they made it there.
They coasted. Matt Ryan's a middle of the road franchise guy. It's tough to play the quarterback position, man. It's tough. Justin Herbert went number 6 overall.
Okay.
Mariota and Winston went 1 and 2 respectively in their draft class.
Not great. But this draft class is going to have a lot of guys.
Potentially 5.
Yeah. I think for sure 4. For sure 4. We can close it out with what teams do you think are going to take a shot on a quarterback? Who do you think is actually going to move up and grab a quarterback this draft?
Move up? You mean
or just draft one? Just draft one in general.
Well, obviously Jacksonville is going to draft Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, that one's off the board for sure.
The Jets have the number 2 pick, and I think they take Justin Fields. I think they're
really
Sam Darnold. I do. I believe that. It's the last year of Sam Darnold's contract, isn't it? Anyways, this is his 4th and final year coming into it.
He would have his 5th-year option.
They don't have to pick the option up though. It's a thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like they could still get a year of basic free quarterback play.
Yeah, and then you draft them, see which one you have, see what you have in both of them, and say, all right, here you go. See you later.
Yeah. Okay.
Trying to think of teams that might potentially, positively, absolutely need a quarterback.
I think New England is absolutely going to draft a quarterback.
I forgot about New England. Yeah, I think they're going to let Cam do his thing this last year, but they're going to draft a quarterback when they have a pick.
And like I said last episode, Trey Lance is going to go to the Patriots.
Stop
that's happening. That's happening.
Stop it.
Maybe San Francisco. They probably can draft one.
That's true. I always forget that the Niners and Jimmy G is not very good. I think honestly, I heard this theory and I think it's true. I don't think New England drafts a quarterback. I think that San Francisco ends up drafting a quarterback and they end up getting Jimmy G back.
Really?
Yep.
I don't know. We know a couple Niner truthers. I don't think any of those guys are high on Jimmy G.
Every Niners person that I know personally cannot stand Garoppolo.
Like, how could you? He's talking about mediocrity and not staying on the field. All the encompassing things you don't want with a quarterback.
That entire San Francisco team can't stay on the field.
It's true.
There's something on that turf or something that they do in Northern California that they are just constantly breaking something.
Northern California, aka Southern Oregon.
That whole franchise needs to be wrapped in a bubble.
Yeah. I'm trying to think any of the teams that I could list up off the top of my head. But that's four right there.
I think some teams draft the Steelers. They have Dwayne Haskins right now, but I think they draft a future replacement.
Yeah. I think you've seen enough from Dwayne Haskins.
I think honestly, I think they signed Dwayne Haskins this year because they thought, hey, we'll get him for cheap because of the issues. Also, we know Dobbs can't do anything. Mason Rudolph is a dumpster and a half. So they're like, why not just go get something for cheap that we know if he turns out to turn his attitude around, he might be good. If not, then we'll just draft one.
I think so, yeah, Pittsburgh could grab somebody. One other, and Miami, I think might want to take a look.
I don't think they.
That'd be wild, though.
They put you.
That'd be wild. You got to think with this whole like Tua trade rumor that was happening with Deshaun Watson before everything else going on with Deshaun Watson. The rumor was that he was going to get traded with a first round pick. So Miami, if that trade would have been true, or if they do go ahead and draft the quarterback in the first round, they have now spent 3 first-round picks on quarterbacks that are currently not playing football on their team.
Excuse me. I think the Broncos draft a quarterback as well.
Yes, that's a good one right there.
I just thought about that when you brought that stuff up. Because the Broncos have spent how many first-round picks on a quarterback? That has not panned out for him. I think this year might be a little different / better with Elway stepping down because he's obviously not a quarterback whisperer like everyone thought he was going to be. Just because you were good doesn't mean that you can evaluate talent.
Correct.
So, but I think we should probably cut it off here for this week.
Yeah, I think so too. We're running right about the time we want to cut off. So just to let you guys know, if you guys stuck around this long, we appreciate you guys listening to us just talk nonsense, talk football. I know it's the off season, so we're all dying and itching to get back into football. But if you guys could, please hit that like, hit that subscribe. Check us out on Twitter. Shoot us a DM. I post on my personal Facebook too. Anybody listening, but yeah, just if you guys could help the channel out, give us a little love, and let us know that we're doing something right. And please put something in the comments you guys want to hear us talk about anything.
That's exactly what I was just about to say. I want to do a viewer Q&A. So I want you guys to ask your questions either on Twitter, on YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook if you are friends of ours and have us on there. Shoot us questions. Shoot us what you kind of want to hear, what you might think to get someone's take on. And we will do a little Q&A with you guys.
All right, that's all I got.
Until next time, guys. See you later.